Followed to my car by Wildfire Flower 2. So, probably the most terrifying thing happened to me just now. I just went to Walmart to pick up some light bulbs really quick. I check out, and I'm walking out of the store when a man walks by me. Note, he was walking into the store. He looked to be in his 30s. I only noticed him because he was chewing on a plastic straw, and when I worked in public schools, I'm a teacher, my kids did that crap all the time, and it was so annoying. So I walked to my car. I opened my door, got in, and when I looked up, that man had followed me out the door and to my car. He was standing right in front of my car. At first I thought, I don't want him to think I'm rude if I lock my door just because he's standing there. But then I thought, screw it, and I locked my door. Good thing I did this, because this freak walked up to my window and tried to pull on my door handle. I looked at him and just shook my head and said no thanks to whatever the heck he was trying to do, and pulled away with him still standing there. I just got home, and I'm so ticked. Ticked that anyone thinks that they have the right to follow someone to their car and literally pull on their door. I want to buy a knife for my car, but I'm a teacher, so it can't be on school property. Ugh, creepy dudes who chew on straws. Let's not meet again. Man parked outside my apartment for a month straight. By foul night jelly. I live in a gated group of apartments, but even that isn't guaranteed safe 100% of the time. I live in the way back of the apartments, in the very last building, and when my roommate and I got home from school one day, she pointed out that there was a man parked very close to our apartment building, waiting in the car. I didn't think much of it at first, but now he's been parked out there for more than a month, and this stuff's getting creepy. He's not a resident, doesn't have a sticker anywhere on his car to be able to park there, and he's not a visitor, because I've never seen him get out of his car or anyone else get into the car with him. He stays inside the car for hours with nobody approaching him, and him not leaving. He also stays inside the car overnight. There was a time about 2 weeks ago when I had left the house for a lunch date, and when I went outside to greet my date, he was just blatantly staring, windows rolled down and all. Needless to say, I called the police, and they said there's nothing to be able to do since it's private property, so instead, I called the front office of the apartments, and the lady working there said they would take it very seriously because she thought the worst, since us and the surrounding apartments were all occupied by only women. Human trafficking, stalker, crazy ex, etc. I bought some pepper spray as well as an alarm, and my roommate has the same, and her dad gave her her mom's gun to keep inside her room just in case. We're really worried about something happening to both of us. Point is, this dude's a creep, and I'd rather not have the displeasure of meeting him face to face.
Dude with superhero complex who follows woman home. By Monacanelli.
This happened to me about 5 years ago. I'm a female, and at the time, I was 21. I was visiting my old hometown, and me and some old school friends decided to go to a local club. For some reason, I can't remember if I left earlier than the others and decided to walk home since it was only a couple of kilometers and taxis are expensive. It was winter and very quiet. No one to be seen anywhere. I walked very fast because it was cold and I wanted to get home quickly. Then I saw a man walking in an opposite direction, but at first I thought nothing of it and assumed he was just some person going home from a bar or party like me. He greeted me, but I didn't know him and just kept on walking without answering. To my horror, he turned around and started following me, and I dialed the emergency number on my phone and put it in my pocket so that I could make a secret call if he did anything sketchy. He ran up to me and started asking me questions like why I was walking alone, what my name was, did I live here, etc. I didn't really answer to anything and told him I didn't need company. He was starting to really creep me out, and then he told me he was going to walk me home so that
nobody does anything to me.
I wanted to scream at him that he was the only freaking person here who could do anything, so screw off. I don't know if he actually had some superhero complex and really just wanted to save damsels in distress. But I wasn't in distress until he came along, and he was drunk, and if you don't mind me saying, he looked a bit crazy. Then he proceeded to grab my hand like we were some romantically involved couple. I didn't dare resist, and my home was very close, so I didn't want to anger him. That seemed to put him off, and he hugged me, told me goodbye and left. I almost ran home. I never saw him again. But later, a friend of mine who lived close to my home told me of a similar experience. Maybe a year after that, my mom told me she had been walking home late at night and some creep had followed her too, saying the exact same things about
making sure nothing happens,
as he said to me. So creepy dude with superhero complex. Let's not meet.
My Weird Coworker by Julia Katrina A. 0507.
So, maybe this might make me seem weird, but let me explain. I'm pretty creeped out. My uncle is an optometrist, and he owns a fairly big office near my university. He actually built 2 apartments beneath his practice to rent out to students, but when my husband and I got married, he was cool enough to let us live in one pretty cheap. Then, a few months ago, he actually gave me a job in his office. It's worked out really great because I can literally walk upstairs to work. Rent is cheap, and my school is within walking distance. Anyways, I also clean the office at nights to get a little extra money, plus it's convenient because I'm right here. Because of that, I have a key. When I started school this semester, I talked to my uncle and asked him if he wouldn't mind if I came upstairs and studied in one of the offices, because it's quiet and I can focus. I usually study at the school, but this was easier. He totally didn't mind that. Anyways, fast forward to 2 days ago. I came up to study and had all my stuff. My coworker Ruth was sitting in her parked car outside of the office, just staring in. This is at like 8 p.m. I saw her and waved. She knew that I studied up there, and she just looked down at her lap. I thought that was weird. I also noticed, kind of separately from this, that Ruth never said hello or good morning to me when I came in for the day. She was always silent. it was weird. Anyways, so a few minutes ago I came up. It's like 8:15 and dark, and had all my stuff. Walking by the window, I saw her car there again, but she wasn't in it. That weirded me out more, so I started to walk around the office, and I didn't see her. But then, when I went back to the office I usually study in, I saw her standing right outside the window outside, with her back to me. There is literally no reason she should be in that area. It's the back of the building, just near the dumpsters. Like, what the heck? I got a feeling she was watching me, and I didn't like it. It was Friday, so I will just wait until Monday and mention it to my uncle at work. It sucks though, because for this let's not meet, I will meet her again. Edit. I'm still here, and it got weirder. I moved to the main office like receptionist desk because I felt uncomfortable back in the office. I didn't hear anything or see her until now, about an hour later. She came back to her car and got in, turned the lights on, which was facing me like through the main doors, and started flashing her brights at me a bunch, and then drove away very slowly. I don't know her well enough to walk out and ask her what's up. Anyways, creepy. I'm going downstairs.
Someone Outside by NDRW17.
Disclaimer. This is a true story and happened to me in high school. It was my senior year of high school. I had finally made some good friends and started to clog up my parents' landline and stand outside on the phone talking away. We had a ranch-style house with a fairly long driveway, and across the street from my house, and the whole block, was one giant field. There was a mansion that a local doctor owned far back in the field, just trying to paint a picture of what everything looked like. But more or less, if you stood on the driveway to my house looking across the street, there was nothing but an empty field as far as you could see. At the end of the driveway was our mailbox, which stood next to the only streetlight on the block. One night, I was standing at the end of my driveway talking on the phone to a friend, and my mother kept popping her head out of the front door, complaining for me to get off the phone and come inside, as it was late. Me, being a teenager, I gave her the "give me 5 minutes" line multiple times, and kept talking. I remember complaining about her to my friend, how she was annoying me, etc., etc. At some point, I started hearing my name being called again, only this time it was more of a loud whisper, like when you are quietly trying to get someone's attention. I distinctly remember saying to my friend something along the lines of,
"My God, she's yelling at me again,"
and kept talking. A few minutes later, I heard my name being called again. Ignoring it, I kept talking. Again, a few moments later, I also heard,
"Come over here."
I turned around and realized the front door was closed. I know I thought it was odd, but not enough that it rarely registered, so I said bye to my friend and headed inside. I got inside, and my parents had just gotten to bed. I complained to my mom that she didn't have to keep yelling at me. She could have just allowed me to finish my call, etc., to which she responded that she hadn't stuck her head outside in like an hour. Cut to hours later. It was around 2 a.m., and I was in my room watching Evil Dead. Big horror fan here. And I got up and headed to the kitchen to make some ramen. My mom, who had heard me in the kitchen, yelled at me from the bedroom to make sure the front door was locked before I went to bed. I walked out of the kitchen and headed to the front door, making sure it was locked. The front door was one of those that had an oval of frosted glass in the center, so that you could look through it clearly in tiny sections. Others were frosted, so you couldn't. Anyway, I did what I normally did, and looked through one of the tiny clear sections, and habitually looked at the street lamp at the end of the driveway. Kind of like when you go to close the blinds, you habitually look outside as you do so. However, I couldn't see the street lamp. For a split second, I thought maybe the light had gone out, until whomever was standing on the other side of the glass moved to the side. I hightailed it to my parents' bedroom, waking Dad and telling him what had happened. He got out of the bed with my mom, grabbed a bat, and went outside to check. They didn't find anything, had turned on all the lights. Nothing. Creeped out, I went to bed. Next morning, I woke up and headed to my car for school. The driver's side was slightly ajar. Figured I had just moronically left it open or something the night before, and I just got in and went to school. School ends, I got home to find a police car in my driveway. Apparently, someone had broken into our garage overnight and stolen all my dad's tools and everything of worth. Not only that, the person had robbed several other homes on our block over the course of the past week. Scary as crap to realize that whomever it was literally hiding somewhere around my house, baiting me while I was on the phone, and then hours later was still outside looking through the front door. It's been 10 years, and I'm still shook.